is the Fantasy Golf Degenerate podcast this week, brought to you by ProphetX. As always, use code FG Degenerates for 1.5% back on your first deposit over there. We really appreciate you guys. If you could like and subscribe to the show, we are falling down the rankings because you guys are getting lazy. So it's time to step it up. Show us some support, people. Otherwise, Kenny's going to keep shaving his face for the rest of the year, and we are going to have to look at that forever. So hit the like, hit the subscribes, rate and review the shit out of these things. We would appreciate every single one of you if you did that. Kenny, goddamn Kim, what's up, my brother?
Yeah, so it's been a while since I actually shaved. I think the last time was like 2021 for like one time because I had to take some work picture. That was the last time. Prior to that, the longest extent.
Pedophiles make you take work pictures, Kenny.
I mean, that's the problem. No mustache anymore. If I kept the mustache, then it could be the pedo look. But if it's just like, if we're really talking about who looks like a pedophile, it would be you with the bucket hat looking all crazy.
The Jeffrey
that's what I
Dahmer
would
glasses.
guess. I feel like you have more of the pedo look than I do personally, but that could just be me. And I think that nickname might stick. I might just call you pedo from now on, and that would work for me. So I think the whole episode, pedo, how are you doing, my friend? No, I'm kidding. So it's been a while since I've been clean shaven, and for the most part, yeah, it's because I lost a little bit of weight. Like I was feeling all right, and I was like, I wonder what the fuck it would look like now, since I don't have like a triple chin. I still got a little bit of a double going on, trying to get rid of that, little neck, but at least it's not horrible. And so when I first did it, it was bad. I don't think I can be clean shaven ever. Again, because I don't know, I looked like I was like 22 years old, and that's not really the look that I'm going for. It could be the look you're going for, Byron, Mr. Pedo, but not me. But now, you can't really tell. I mean, I guess, I don't know, maybe you can. It's growing in. I'm Asian, so it takes me a little bit of time, to grow it in, but quicker than most Asians, I would say. So, each week it'll come back. I think by the time I get to Toronto, I could probably have a beard again, but I sort of like the little bit of fuzz. I might keep that. But yeah. Again, make sure to go, leave ratings and reviews on Spotify, on Apple, all that good shit. It'll help us out. But let's talk about what do you think? What'd you think of the event at the CJ Cup? Not my favorite. Favorite affair.
I didn't watch any of the weekend golf. I think overall, what Scotty did is good for golf because people will tune in the next time he plays in a big, like more people, because he just demolished the field. But I don't think anyone really watched the weekend because it was over. It was completely over. And he's back, Kenny. His best ball striking performance of his career. And it's only the second time he's got into the 4.5 strokes per round ball striking is absurd. Remember, we were chatting about how he was always top fiving with the short game coming through. Now it was all what Scotty Scheffler can do on autopilot. And he did it like Top Gun on autopilot. It was good shit.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for me to take the weekend off. I wasn't around. I didn't watch much golf. I went out of town. Me and a buddy of mine, it's a cabin in Deep Creek, Maryland. So he went over there and played golf at 1,000 Acres and Rocky Gap. It was a nice little weekend to get away. And, I planned it so I can get back to watch the back nine on Sunday. And really, I didn't need to. I just came over and took a nap because Scotty was up by so much. Now, a couple of things. We did talk about, the changes to the course. And I thought that it would play a little bit more difficult. And outside of Scotty, it's what happened. Only 2 golfers shot -20 or better this week. And, and with winning scores -27, -25, -23 in the past. The length added and the narrowing of the fairways definitely worked for everyone except Scott. Right? Except
it
Scott.
probably played into his hands better.
Yeah, I think it might have. I think it might have played into him a little bit better. Now, the issue I had, it was a horrible week for me. After a couple of weeks, basically, like I got skunked this week. And the issue was I really focused heavily on, my bombers carry distance because of the wet, soft conditions. And that did not play out the way that I thought. I mean, Sam Stevens is up there, but not many bombers. So, sometimes you take a stand on something and you're wrong. And that was definitely me this past week. Yeah.
It's also golf, and it was also a weird week. When weather gets overly involved, I never tend to do great. It's just not how it works because there's just so many more variables. We accounting for the specific amount of variables that we like put in our models, the course itself. When the weather gets involved, we don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how it affects these people. Having to play 36 holes in one day can, like cause people to get tired. A bit of a mess, So water under the bridge, figuratively and literally. And I think, it's all good. Van Rooyen, tough scene, man.
Yeah, and see, that pissed me off. That pissed me off because last week I asked you specifically, I was like, what's up your boy? He really stood out to me for last week, and I did not play him. And I like this quote at the end. He got into the signature event this week, and the reporters asked if he was happy. He was like, not really. These signature events suck. He's not a big fan of these no-cut events and stuff like that, and I don't think any of us are. But it's what we deal with. I mean, we could talk about how we want to change it and stuff like that. I think if we just made 80 to 100 golfers and a cut to 50, I think it would be perfect. I think it would be just fine. But I don't know. We'll see if it ever gets to that point in time. They're already making changes to the FedEx Cup Championship. They won't tell us what those changes are yet, I don't think, right? They haven't came out.
It is not match play. Though. Yeah, that's what they have told us. Is it's not.
I think that's all we know. But they are changing that for this year, so they can change stuff on the fly. So maybe for next season, they can get some word in and talk to these, pampered fucks and be like, okay, yeah, you might miss the cut. Okay. Maybe they give them like some type of money for the people that missed the cut too. I don't know, like some small amount. I don't know how they're going to do it to make everyone happy, but, I think they definitely need a cut, but we're dealt this hand and that's what we're going to play. And, we're going to go about it, with this new course. So anything else? Like I said, I did not watch, much of the golf since I was out of town. I was planning on watching that bat 9, but I passed out. I came home, slept for a couple hours instead of watching Scotty triumph. Anything else stick out to you? I mean, the thing is, how much can you really judge like a golfer like for Scotty? Like I know it's good that he got the win and stuff like that, but like, do you think a win like this outside of momentum and confidence really shows you anything about what he can do?
It's how he won
in majors.
He demolished the field on ball striking. Like it was not even close. And we've been waiting for the ball striking to show up. And it hasn't been there until the RBC Heritage. And then we saw a bit of form there. It was his best performance since the Olympics at the RBC. And this was his best performance ever on the ball striking front. And when you do what you do best, you stick with that shit, baby. Scotty needs to do the ball striking thing. He's not a short game specialist. If the short game sticks with him now, after he's been leaning on that a little bit, and the ball striking returns, this is what happens. You shoot 31 under par. And I think you shoot the lowest total score ever on the PGA Tour.
Yeah. Tied with Oberg and somebody else. Now, so you got Scott, so many different storylines coming into the PGA Championship now. I mean, with Scotty looking like he's on form, right? Justin Thomas winning Heritage after 3 years off it and going to probably his favorite course at Quail Hollow. You got Rory, right, who looks like he's on top of his game. He even looked like he played well during the Zurich. Like I had worries that maybe he might chill a little bit now that he got the monkey off his back. That might not be the case. We shall see about that. Then you got who else? Bryson. That's right. Bryson finally got rid of the Sunday scare. We actually talked about this last week. If we were worried about Bryson, and now this is his 4th event in a row in the lead, basically going into Sunday, and he finally cashed it in at Live Korea with Charles Howell III chasing him, which it was funny seeing Charles chuck his 3 sticks back in action. I totally forgot that he was in Live. And then of course you got Jordan going for the Slam, playing extremely well, 4 straight top 20s on tour for the first time since 2022, 2023. Something like that. Morikawa with a new caddy, and the caddy is the one that JT had when he won his event for the first time in 3 years. I mean, the storylines are pretty fucking sick going into the PGA Championship. I'm looking forward to that. We'll do ours on Monday, normal time next week for the PGA Championship. So it looks like it's going to be a really, really fun event. But of course, this week we're talking about the Truist, and it should be cool with the new course and all that stuff. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into this week?
Not necessarily. I'm just excited for Bryson to have got that love the momentum he's bringing in. I think that's big. And the irons look like they figured themselves out. John Rahm continues to be a top 10 juggernaut without ever really looking like he's going to win a golf tournament. Just Mr. Mediocrity, like the epitome of. So we'll see what happens there. I'm excited for this week, Kenny. It's a new golf course and it's exciting. It's changed how you approach the weeks, and I'm looking forward to chatting about it. Is there anything you wanted to finish chatting about?
No. We could just go straight at it. I mean, last week was sort of boring. Outside of Bryson's win, not really too much to talk about except Scotty's dominance. When we get to it, so let's talk about the course. You want to get into a little course preview? Actually, you know what? Let's go to ProphetX first. Let's talk a little bit about ProphetX. Use promo code FG Degenerates. Get yourself, I think, 2% or 1.5% back on your first edition. Now, last week they had some matchups up. I posted that I wanted Ben On over Sungjae M. If you were going to take that at most books, it would probably be around plus 110 to plus 120. If you picked Benny On, I took Benny On at 138, plus 138, almost plus 140. And so, like I said, like we said before, when it comes to ProphetX, you're not going to get better numbers than that for matchups. Now, we're going to try and get them to go and get the finishes positions in each week. They're a new company. They're starting. This is probably a busy time for them right now, going with the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, baseball starting, all that stuff. So, hopefully when it comes to signature events and majors, they'll have more options for golf. And that's what they told us. As they get older and move, grow, golf is going to become a bigger part of their mission. And that's what we'd like to help them with. So hopefully here soon they will have some matchups because I remember talking about it last week. The matchup, the finishing position. I mean, the finishing position that I would have liked to have seen would have put money on was a Scotty top 5. Would have hit that and probably would have gotten a Scotty top 5. What was it like?
Probably minus 200-ish.
Minus 200 or
yeah.
Maybe 150, minus 150 or something like that. Maybe you could have gotten that closer to even money. Because what you do on ProphetX is you request odds, right? So you go to ProphetX, you request the odds, you put in the odds that you want. If that is matched on the other side by somebody else, you're good to go. And so that's how it works. It's the only place where you can request your own odds. It's not a sports book. What you're doing is you're just going one-on-one versus somebody else. And they take 2%, 2 or 3% of the winnings at that point in time. So make sure you go there, use promo code FG Degenerates, and let's get on it. As the site grows, we're going to grow with them. And we'll have plenty of more information. Check our X feeds. We'll have plays. I put my play out Wednesday night when those matchups came out. I'd expect them to come out again on Wednesday for this week, hopefully a little bit earlier, but we'll see. Just make sure you follow me on X at KendoVT. I will have all my ProphetX plays on there on Wednesdays.
Yeah, baby. And quick little life hack for you guys. If you are doing this, because ProphetX provides you with over-unders as well. And I cashed Scotty Scheffler's under on round 2 for Friday. And I tried to get the round 3 play in there, but it was such a weird situation with the overlaps and everything. It didn't cash. But I went over what they were saying that he would have got. So I'm looking at Scotty Scheffler since 2024. I'm looking at spike rounds, Kenny. He's got 30 rounds where he's gained 4+ strokes on the field. 2 of them have come on a Saturday. 28 of them have come Thursday, Friday, Sunday. He has got a Saturday problem. Saturday Scotty is just casual. If he can figure out how to play good golf on a Saturday like he's typically done on the other 3 days, he would be unstoppable. But that's one way to take advantage of the other side of Scotty Scheffler is on Saturdays. You don't play him in showdown. You play the overs on the ProphetX side of things there for Scotty, because he barely ever spikes on Saturdays. It's just a weird thing about him. I don't understand why. So we'll see how that goes going forward, but it's something I've definitely noticed about him. It's incredible. So thought I'd just put that out there into the ether for you guys, because we're all human and we all have these trends.
if I'm looking and they put finishing positions out, I'd probably look at a Scotty top 5, top 10 again, right? I mean, that's probably what I'd key on, because it seems like it's pretty likely to happen the way that he's playing. And then, of course, you're going to get better numbers than books. That's just facts. So hopefully they have these finishing positions in this week. If not, they will have matchups. They will have the over-under on first-round scores as well. That's not my favorite thing to do, but if that's the only thing that's out, just to help them boost their shit, I will go ahead and put one of those out. But more than likely, it'll be a matchup if they don't have the finish positions. If they have the finish positions, I'll have a bunch of those. So make sure you tune in to my X account, to Byron's X account, at the Model Maniac on X, and we'll have our plays in.
Yeah, I've been using my Model Maniac Patreon to cash in on these over-unders because there are trends that these guys have. So check that out there. Use code Truist25 for 25% off my Model Maniac Patreon, link in the description below. We'd love to have you there for the showdown stuff and all that jazz going forward. Kenny, the Philadelphia Cricket Club. How familiar are you with cricket?
That's like the game you play with like the flat bat, right? I have no idea what's going on. All I know is they hit the fuck out of the ball with that thing, and like people scream, and you can hit it backwards, and like that's good.
Yes.
That's like all I know about cricket.
Yeah.
I don't know much.
Grew up playing a lot of cricket, obviously in South Africa, and it's a cricket bat that you have. You're protecting your wickets. You don't have a pitcher, you have a bowler. And typically you want to have the ball, it's got a seam on it. So you put your fingers on the seam.
What are wickets? Are those the things behind the batter?
Yes, it's the 3 sticks that go in the ground.
And then if you miss and those get knocked down, is that like an out or something?
It's out. It's not an out.
Why do games take 4 days?
Okay, some of them take 5 days. It's called a test match. It's the oldest traditional form of cricket. So it's like what my granddad used to love. You just crack open a couple of beers, you just sit there all day and watch them
sit out there and just play fake-ass baseball for 5 days? That's weird.
Then there's 1-day formats where it's like just an 8-hour game, and then there's 2020 formats where it's like ramped up power play situations. You're trying to it's like baseball now, where you're just swinging for the fences and just going out there. You don't necessarily care about
8-hour games of that seems miserable. But there must be huge fans. I mean, I always see those cricket places like packed.
Kenny, think about how long if you get drunk at a football game, you're only there for like 3 hours. You can get drunk at a cricket game and you can take a nap. You can get drunk twice.
I'd have to pace myself.
I know. So it's a great time. Definitely try and find some cricket on TV if you guys are ever in the mood. Try and find the 2020 stuff because that's action-packed stuff. And when you go out, you're out. It's not like you come back in again. That's it. So that's one of the big differences between cricket and baseball. But let me hear what you got to say about it.
Don't some people aren't they at bat for 3 hours? Like they just keep hitting until something happens? Like when do you stop hitting? When you make it
when you go out. You either get bowled out, like it hits those wickets, it hits your legs it would have hit the wickets. If it hits your body and it was going to hit the wickets, then you also out. You can't do that. You have to make sure it's the bat that gets things taken care of. You get caught out. So if you hit the ball in the air and someone catches it directly without any gloves on, like real men do, and they catch those balls way, way down, like far out or close by. And then
but I don't think Aaron Judge is hitting. I don't think Aaron Judge is hitting a screaming liner at you in this, right? I mean, you can catch these balls. They're mostly up in the air, right? It's not like Aaron Judge is hitting a screaming liner to the third base and you got to catch that with your bare hand, right? It's not like that, right?
No, it is like that at times. There's also long loopy shots, but there's positions where, boy, I played a position that's right first base, and it's fun as fuck. You just get these balls rolled at you and you just got to catch them. And when you get conditioned to catch it with your hands, it's actually
a lot
very
easier,
doable.
Of course.
Baseball players are just a bunch of bitches, but it's all good. Let's chat about Philadelphia Cricket Club.
All right, so let's talk about it. The Wissahickon course at Philadelphia Cricket Club. This is one of the oldest country clubs in the United States. There's a lot of clubs that fight over what specifically is the oldest country club in the U.S. This is one of the ones that fights for that moniker. It's been around since 1922. The course was designed by A.W. Tillinghast. Tillinghast has built Baltusrol, Winged Foot, Bethpage Black, just these classic tracks. From in the Northeast from back in the day, classical golf. And they had a renovation in 2013, which, took away a lot of the trees, brought it back to where A.W. Tillinghast wanted it. So it is a 7,119 yard par 70, 4 par 3s, and 2 par 5s. So this is a pretty short course. They haven't played a tour event here before, but they did play a senior PGA event here in 2016. Bernard Longer won, and I think he won it like +1. So like when you see stuff like that and you hear A.W. Tillinghast, the first thing that probably pops up into your mind is this is going to be an extremely difficult course. And that may be the case. Again, we're taking educated guesses here when it comes to it. But I think what can ruin the fact, because from what I've heard, this club has very, very passionate members. Like I said, they fight over it being like the oldest club in the United States. And rumor is they want a PGA Championship here. They want a U.S. Open here. So my guess is that they're going to try and make this course play as difficult as possible. And the main defense, more than likely, of this course would be these greens. Because these greens are small, they're elevated, they're contoured, and usually the way they want it is they want it super firm, super fast. That's the way. Now, will that happen? I don't know. Because they got a deluge of rain today. I mean, it rained hard as fuck here at like 1 o'clock. And we're about 4 hours south of Philly. So my guess is they are getting that rain now. Like you couldn't like see type rain, is the rain that we got here in the DC area. And so more than likely they should be getting that rain in Philly. There should be rain. There could possibly be rain during the event also. There's no sub-air system. So if they're going to get this much rain and it's going to play that soft, I think it neutralizes the difficulty of these greens. But let's go into the course a little bit more. Like I said, it's a par 70, 7,119 yards, 12 par 4s, 4 par 3s, 2 par 5s. The par 4s, 9 of the 12 are under 450 yards. Okay. The 2 par 5s are reachable by most. Now, the first shot on the par 5 7th, it's a long carry, but it's a long carry for amateurs. For pros, they should be fine. The par 4s range from 140 to 230. But so the big thing
Par
about
threes.
this is the par 3s. The big thing about this is going to be the par 4s and how golfers are going to attack these holes off the tee. I've already heard different stuff from a whole bunch of different people. Now, the thing about this is off the tee, golfers are going to see wide-ish fairways, averages around 32 yards in width, which is not narrow, right? Now, around the 270 to 300 yard marker is where you see these huge bunkers, right? Humongous bunkers. A lot of people are going to be talking about the bunkers being deep and penal, which I think they would be, again, if they're amateurs. Like, I don't think golfers have that much trouble off of fairway bunkers, especially if they're using wedge and 9-iron and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even if they're up against a lip and they're deep, they can hit like a gap and hit it really high up in the air and still make it like 120, 130. And that's the thing. So off the tee, the strategy, I think, is going to be different for different type of people, because the rough is about 3 inches, which, it's going to be gnarly, but the trees are sort of sporadic, right? You're not going to have too many to worry about. And if you miss like real wildly, you can hit into some like high grass, high fescue, but you got to really miss the fairway by like 15, 20 yards. And these are 32-yard fairways. So, you're trying to hit the middle of the fairway. So you're missing by like 40 yards.
40 yards.
Right? Oh, yeah, off the tee to get 30 to 40 yards to hit into this fescue. So I think off the tee, there's going to be different tactics, especially because the weather. It's supposed to be raining, and it should be soft, which really sucks. I think it takes the excitement out of this course, because if this was fast and firm, I think it would be a lot of fun to watch. But I think it's going to be soft. And so I think, the longer hitters, the bombers with long carry distance, I think they're going to try and hit it over because it gets a little bit narrow from 270 to 300. And then after 300, it opens back up. It opens back up. So I think a lot of these guys who can hit it 310, 320 carry will be hitting it over the bunkers into the wider area, right? And I think, the other golfers who are a little bit shorter who don't will hit it 270 to 300 and just hope they hit it into the fairway. Now, you would think that this gives bombers a massive advantage. And now, if it was a longer course, I would say yes, because the bombers, if it was a long course and the bombers are hitting it, they probably have 175 proximity around there, while the shorter guys are hitting 200 to 225. The disparity in proximity averages from 175 to 225 is a lot.
Exponential.
Yeah, is a lot, right? Now, the disparity in proximity average from, say, 75 yards to 125, 150, not as wide, right? Like, it's not as wide. And I think in some cases, like, personally, like, for you, what do you think? Do you think it's easier to hit like a 3/4 sand wedge or a full gap? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be the difference between the bombers and the regular guys. Because the bombers are going to be hitting, 3/4 wedges, probably, not even full swings on a lot of these holes. If they're going to carry the hazard, the bunker, and hit it over the 300-yard marker. But, the guys who are just going to hit it to like 270 to 300, they'll have a full gap wedge, full sand wedge. What in your mind?
Amateurs love hitting a full shot because that's your stock yardage. Professionals hit 3/4 wedges all the time. They hit half a wedge. They know the closer you are, the closer the golf ball gets to the hole. It's just science, baby.
But again, for
them it's better. Like, you want to be close. They will take a 3/4 sandwich over a full gap wedge every single time.
Now, I don't think that the off the tee play is going to be the deciding factor. I don't think you cross off short guys at all. I think they are all in play because, again, they're hitting wedges too, right? They're hitting wedges too is basically what it's going to come down to, especially on these par fours, with 9 of them being under 450 yards. I think the big thing is going to be the wedge play. And I think that's going to be the most important process of this week, because hitting into these greens are small, right? They're heavily contoured. They're elevated. There's a lot of problems around the greens. There are open areas in the front. So, if people have a bad lie, they can try and scoot it up there with like a low club and roll it up. It's stuff like that. But around the greens, there's rough, there's bunkers. But if you're missing the greens this week with a wedge, you're going to not be in contention. So I don't even think you look at short game unless like the wind comes through. I think the most important thing this week is going to be proximity from 100 to 150. How golfers are with their wedge game. I think that's going to be important. I think, of course, putting from bet. I know it's hard. Putting is very, very variable. But bent, fast bent greens. I think finding guys who have succeeded in that before, I think is something to look at. That's why I think Cantlett is such a popular play already. I've seen him tipped already a bunch. I'm not going to be on because the guy hasn't won in so long, but we've seen like sharp guys.
He's not
already,
the best wedge player either. Anyway,
I've already gone to Cantley. So when it comes to this course, I think what you want to look for is off the tee. I think it's a wash. I think you can go either way. Of course, bombers are going to have an advantage, but bombers have an advantage in every course we play except like Heritage, right? I mean, like that's just natural. I think it's going to be wedge play. I think it's going to be putting. I think it's like guys who are familiar with these type of classical layouts, especially in the Northeast. I think that's what's going to be important. So like, the main things that I'm looking. So, it said there was +1 was the winning score at the Senior PGA. I think if it was firm and fast, we would see a winning score around -12, right? Because again, that was 10 years ago. That was the seniors. Golf has changed a lot in just these 10 years, right? Especially with equipment, how these golfers play, how far they hit the ball, how high they hit the ball, even on, lower lofted clubs, stuff like that. So, I don't think we're going to see like single digit under par win this event. I think, if it was fast and firm, I think -12. to -15. I think with the soft conditions, I think we can see like -18 win here.
Yeah.
I think it's very, very possible. Again, we're just taking educated guesses. I mean, I could be 100% wrong when they go out there and shoot fucking -9 and that wins it. It's possible, but for like what I've seen and the conditions that we are going to see, unless the wind picks up drastically, which I did not see, I just saw rain. I think these guys were going to have wedges in their hand, even from the rough, and that's the kicker. Because if you're able to miss these fairways and still hold the greens with wedge, guys are going to score. Guys are going to score if you have that type of setup, and that's what it feels like to me. You might hear other stuff. I'm not the sharpest guy when it comes to it, so listen to other guys. I know Andy Lack has a great intro to this course on his podcast that it came out a couple days ago. I listened to it. Always a great show. Make sure you go listen to Andy on Inside Sports Network. But so what do you expect? I mean, do you agree with me? Are you totally off? Like, what do you think?
I'm in total agreement, Kenny. I'm going to share my screen with you guys here to try and just show you this is a theoretical situation that I've got with going on here. I went ahead and pulled up Google Earth and pulled up the distance from the tee box to carry bunkers. And this is what I calculated from a proximity situation. So if we just got 300-yard drives, we're going to have all of these shots coming from inside 150. Like you mentioned, we've got really short shots coming in on these short par fours. And then we've got these 2 par fives that are super long holes, but at the same time, you could have a wedge in there or you're chipping for birdie or eagle, so you've definitely got that going on for yourself right there. Kenny, I'll send you the screenshot. I don't want you taking photos of computers, you damn boomer. But here's my Discord.
Dude, I'm like 45 years old, right? Like I am 45 years old. I am an old fucking man. Technology does not work for me. That was just really easy to do. That's all I need.
Yes, hole 18, for instance, like you need from the very tippy tips of the back tee box here, you need 307 yards to carry the bunker. So if you can fly at 310, you are Gucci, baby. Like I went and broke down every single one of these holes. I've got all sorts of cool research threads over here.
Oh, this is on your Patreon?
This is all my Patreon. This is behind the scenes.
You got to check this out then. Shit, hell yeah. I'm glad.
So
money.
You're going to need good shots from 100 to 150. Yeah, are the guys. Alex Noren, Tom Hoagie, Victor Hovland. These guys are the guys that gain the most strokes for good shots. A good shot is when you're getting half a stroke on a single approach shot. And you need to knock wedges stiff at this course because the greens are difficult. So hitting a wedge close, there you have the top 21, 22 guys. And you can see their distance. Mm-hmm.
In this graphic, so you're saying like a half shot gained on a wedge has got to be tap it, basically, almost like within 5 feet, right? Is basically what you're saying. Because, I mean, to gain a half stroke on a wedge from 100 to 150, you're going to have to hit that shit real tight. So this graph that you have, that you guys are seeing right now, is probably really important. Because these are the ones that are going to be pin hunting. And what I would focus on here are the guys that play signature events more often than not. Because it's probably hard to gauge, what events that they have this on. And a lot of these guys who aren't playing signature events often are probably doing this on courses like the fucking CJ Cup, right?
Sure.
Where it's pretty easy. So like guys like Hovland, I mean, that and then Wyndham, Siwoo, it's the guys that play a lot of SIG events. I mean, this is the chart right here.
But I also want to point out to you guys, look at this distance column. If you're taking a look at guys that have insane distance, we've only got Rasmus, JT, Ludwig, and Wyndham Clark, who's sitting like inside the top 15, Jordan Spieth as well. The majority of the good wedge players are the guys that have better accuracy. That's the thing. So this is how this course is going to balance itself out. So it's going to be a really fascinating week to kind of determine. You can absolutely make up your missed opportunities without distance with better iron play with the wedges, because if you think about it, wedges require precision and finesse and control of spin, and guys with power don't have that. They brutes. They hitting it as hard as they can, and as a result, they hit their long irons incredibly well. The correlation between long iron play and distance off the tee is a lot better than distance off the tee and wedge play. You'll find guys that are accurate off the tee have better wedge play just because that's the nature of their game. So you can find all of this stuff in the Model Maniac Patreon. Use code Truist25 for 25% off your first month over there. I broke down every single hole, Kenny. I totally agree with you. I think every time I looked, it was like, if you can carry at 310, your stress off the tee box is going to be non-existent. Stress-free off the tee, plus 310 yards, so that's going to be the way to go.
Do you have that stat, Byron? Like, how many people average over 300-yard carry distance? Do you have that on your Patreon?
I went and took a look. It's not a lot because it's off of every tee box, and they've just played Harbour Town, they've played Pebble Beach. You're not going to get perfect carry distances because but I do know for a fact that if you just look at distances, like who's got the most distance off the tee, they can easily. Rory can carry at 325, 320 easy. Wyndham Clark as well. So you just need to know, okay, there's a certain point where the distance, those guys, like probably the bottom 2/3 of the field, doesn't have the distance to carry these bunkers. All of them. The middle third might be able to carry the 300-yard bunkers, and then the bottom third are the guys that are going to be hitting a 9-iron instead of a gap wedge or a sand wedge, because they're going right over the trap. So it's going to be fascinating. And like you said, Kenny, if the green's firmed up a little bit, coming in from the rough where the bombers would be versus the guys in the fairway would change up the whole dynamic.
It would be a whole different story.
Yeah. And I went and took a look at the 2024 US Am Best Ball or 4-ball contest or championship or whatever. And the guys, they were using, so you're playing best ball in that content, but guys are shooting 62s. Like if it was a hard course, they probably were shooting 68s, 65s, like you can get this golf course. It's there to be had. And those were amateurs. The PGA professionals are obviously much better, although amateurs are still very, very good. So I think also
you can listen to, I know Pat had Alex Pickle on, and I think he won the Pennsylvania Amateur there. So if you're really looking for a guy who's played that course before, now I think the winning score on that one was +1 or -1 or something like that. But again, that's amateurs. So a little bit different story. But it's tough because the course looks like it wants to be difficult. But I think the conditions that we're going to be seeing, I don't think it will be.
Agreed. And I think the weather looks placid. The course is soft. I think it's, it would be a perfect strip club, I think, if it was ever, kind of compared to one. So I guess strip clubs need to be hard, Kenny. Who the heck knows? Anyway.
Yeah, strip clubs in Philly. But since we've been doing this the last couple of weeks, my boss actually went to Philly last week, and he found out that they're all closed. There are no strip clubs in Philly anymore, like hardly any that are open. There are some outside in the suburbs, but from what he told me, he could not find one within the confines of the city. So I don't know what's going on over there. So it's not the best strip club city, is what I'm guessing about that. Well, when it comes down to it. But let's actually get to our betting section. Why don't you lead us the way here, Byron, for the kickback?
Let's do it, baby. So I'm going to do some sweat bets for you guys. I'm going to share my screen once more.
Before I do want to say, I wanted you to talk about kickback and lead into it. So why don't you do that?
Beautiful. This is brought to you by Kickback Golf. Use code FGD15 for 15% off. You can get all your kickback paraphernalia there. Baseball jerseys, MLB jerseys, all with golfers' names, their lowest scores, the year they won a major, depending what kind of golfer you're going with there. It's got some badass stuff. I rock that Scotty Scheffler Augusta 2022 version. I know Kenny's not the favorite year of that, but there's a 2024 version out there if you want to support Kenny. Use code FGD15 for 15% off over at Kickback Golf. They've also got some cool ass t-shirts I'm assuming they put on the site at some point, if that's even the case, if not already there. Kickback Golf, people. It's go follow them on X as well.
They've actually hit like 3 in a row. The guys at Kickback Golf, they started putting content out, and they've hit 3 winners in a row. So go ahead and follow them at Kickback Golf. Yes,
Mike, I need to get some permission to share my screen again, as we go along. But as we go through this, I'm going to go with the sweat bets, because what we want to do here is pick the top 5 guys on the odds board, because when you're looking to sweat, you want to take the 5 best options that are out there. And as a result, you're going to be finding the sweat bets being the top 5 guys because they'll float around the top of the leaderboard quite a lot. So let's start off with Rory McIlroy. If you're looking to bet Rory McIlroy in 2025, you would be crushing the top 20 market, but I don't think you want to get to Rory at minus 500 this week. That's not going to necessarily work for you, but his next best profitable bet is the top 5 market where you can get Rory at plus money. Even money, plus 100. He's cashed that 5 of the last 7 times he's played. I will be going to that market. It's a perfect play. Rory sets up fantastic for this golf course. It makes too much sense. He's been ultra profitable there compared to his top 10
And his wedge
too.
game has improved here recently.
It has improved, but it used to be very bad. And I think what we're realizing now is it's actually just better. It's still not great. You know, it's still solid though.
But better.
Better, definitely better compared to Rory's baseline for sure. So that's going to be one person that we can look into is Rory McIlroy top 5. If you want to go ahead and find Colin Morikawa's markets, I will be looking at his top 20 market. You can find minus 190s. You can find minus 200s. If we can get ProphetX to put their plays out there, we might get even minus 150s out there. Colin Morikawa has cashed his top 20 market 6 of the 7 times he's played. I would definitely go back to that. I think he's a phenomenal wedge player. He's ultra accurate. He's going to be just looking at birdie putt after birdie putt around this golf course. And I think a top 20 in a 72-man field at minus 190 is the place to go for Colin Morikawa. If we're taking a look at Justin Thomas next up here, taking a look at my tool over here on the Model Maniac Patreon, his best market in 2025 has been the top 10 market. JT's played a lot of golf this year, and he's cashed 5 of his top 10s he's played in, 3 of the last 6 in particular, one of them being the Masters, which he's never played great at. So I think JT's wedge play this week will be sensational. He's plus 140, plus 150, wherever you're looking. Ty's paid in full. Definitely try and find those markets if you can. I love Justin Thomas's situation for the top 10. I think he's a great top 10 bet this week, given his driving ability and his wedge play. He's a very, very good wedge player, and you don't find a lot of good guys with distance that have good wedge play. So Justin Thomas is definitely the guy over there. I think Xander Schauffele is going to be fascinating this week because this is not a golf course for him to break out because if you look at his wedge play, he's like 50th in the field in strokes gained from 100 to 150, and he hasn't necessarily had any solid results this week. So if you're looking to bet Xander, I would try and find a matchup against him. Go to ProphetX, find an over his strokes gained maybe. But if you are looking to potentially bet him some way, just bet him top 5. It'll be the least amount of investment that you have to make because I would imagine this is a losing play one way or another. I'm not going to be looking.
Byron,
yo,
Xander's going to win this week.
Okay, there you have it for Kenny. So I would play Xander Schauffele in the win-only market, 17-1 per my co-host. And that's even better than the top 5. You're wasting even less money. So I love that for Xander Schauffele. And then we're going to go to Ludwig Oberg for the final guy over here for the top 5. If we're taking a look at his best situation in 2025, we've got the top 5 market being his best placement market. Now, it hasn't happened for a while. He's been really, really bad, and I wouldn't ever touch the top 20 market for him because you're getting waxed with odds and juice in that situation. Leaning to the top 5s, he's got insane upside. I feel like this is a really good golf course for him. Good putting, great driving and accuracy with distance, and then you're also getting, some mediocre to above average wedge play from a guy that's dominated at the RSM. So I think those are the guys we're going to be looking at. That's how I would bet the top 5 guys on the odds board this week for Byron Lindeque's sweat bets this week. Kenny Kim, tell us why Xander Schauffele is going to win this golf tournament this week.
Yeah, I mean,
despite
here's the
being
thing,
the 50th worst wedge play in the field.
I get that, but when it comes to this, I'm basing it based on, class, the dude's class, and the game looks like it's 8th at the Masters, 18th at the Heritage. He's almost there. I mean, the ball striking is there. You're right. The wedges haven't been the greatest, but it's just a gut play for me. And honestly, I think when it comes to the top 4 guys, Rory, Xander, Morikawa, JT, I honestly think one of those guys wins this week. And I know that sounds not the hottest take because they are the 4 most popular guys on the odds
off
board,
the win equity. Yeah.
But you're not, you don't bet these guys, the top 4 every time, depending on the course. I just feel it this week because it seems like the way the course is, it feeds to all 4 of these guys' games. Rory can bomb it over. They have really short shots in. Morikawa, again, the elite wedge game. He actually has Griner on the bag now, right? Who just won with JT, right? You have JT who has confidence coming in, finally got that W on a course with similar length than what we're seeing this week. And then you got Xander, who I like a lot. Because I think at some point in time, the win's going to happen. The guy has too much talent. He's too good. I'm going to go ahead and take 25-1 for Xander Schauffele with 3 places.
Okay.
That's the number I'm going to take for Xander. Like you said, the wedge game is probably the worst in the card. But I just have a feeling it's a gut thing. I think he's going to win sometime soon. And I'm just going to be on him for when it happens, especially if I can get that 25-1 number with 3 places on Bet365. It seems like it's disrespectful to me because Morikawa was 20 with the 3 places, and he hasn't won in 3 years. JT just won for the first time. He's at 25, and then I think you can get him like 10-1 or 12-1 with the 3 places, and that makes a lot of sense with Rory because of the way he's playing right now. But I think you want one of those 4 guys on your card. I really do. And that's why I took the 3 places. That's why I took the 25-1 for Xander. That's going to be my first outright for the week. Next, it's going to be Sam Burns at 40-1 with 8 places. Now, you talk about a guy with shitty iron game. That would be Sam Burns. I think in the last 24 rounds, he's like 71st out of like 72 golfers in this field in strokes gained approach. Like, Kenny, what the fuck are you doing? Why would you pick this guy? And a lot of people, like his last 2 events were top 15, I think a 13th and an 8th, but he did all that damage with his putter. So again, like, Kenny, why are you betting this guy? The best proximity ranges that he is with his iron game, which has been horrible, but he's been above average from 100 to 150 yards in the last 24 rounds and in the last 100 rounds. So he's been a better than average wedge player throughout his whole entire career. And even in this troubled time where his iron game hasn't been that strong, the one thing you can count on is he's going to be above average from 100 to 150 yards. And you add in the elite putting. And the thing is, like, putting has, like people say, it's very, very high variance. But I think he's like top 20 in strokes gained putting on bent courses, in bent grass greens with fast conditions. I think he's inside the top 20 in that. He can easily spike putting. We've seen insane putting. I think he had like 9.6 strokes gained putting last week. Don't quote me on that, but it was like some crazy, insane amount. So he can spike, he can hit his wedges. He's coming in with confidence, a couple of really, really good finishes. Now, if he could just get that wedge game to work to go with that putting, I think he can make some noise. I got that with 8 places this week, 40-1. Next, it's going to be Keegan Bradley, 40-1 with 8 places. He's won on this type of course before, like an Aronimink, like that Northeast classical style track. He's won. This is like his neck of the woods. Shockingly, in his last 24 rounds on bent grass, he is ranked 3rd in strokes gained putting in the field, and that's on bent grass greens that are fast. He is ranked 3rd in strokes gained putting in the last 24 rounds on fast bent grass greens. He's always been good with his wedges, and like I said, he's won on another Tillinghast course, Aronimink. Tends to play well in this area of the country. 40-1, 8 places.
And I bet Keegan as well, Kenny. I'm going to jump on with you there. Just add one more thing. There's only 2 or 3 other guys that rank top 20 in driving distance and driving accuracy. Keegan is one of them.
Yeah.
So he's a total driving guy. He's got the distance and the accuracy that you need. Great wedge player. That's all I'm going to say for Keegan. I've also bet him.
Justin Rose, your boy. I think I got a pretty shitty number, but I can only bet on Bet365 in my area because it's the only book in that I can use that has each way placements. So I'm sort of stuck with their numbers. So I got Justin Rose, 45-1 with 8 places. good wedge player throughout his career. Really been playing the par fives pretty well recently, and the course is more difficult than we think. Then you're really going to need to score on those 2 par fives. Now 3 top 10s in his last 7 events on 3 wildly different courses. This leads me to believe, he's firing on all cylinders, like Arnold Palmer, Bay Hill, Masters, and Hema, I think is where he's had those 3 top 10s. And those are drastically, completely different courses, right? Always been a good bank grass putter. Really needs to make that Ryder Cup team. A win here will get him on, I think. A win here will get him on. So you're getting 45-1 with 8 places. Next is going to be Brian Harman. If you notice, not many bombers in my card. I'm going with plotters, but Brian Harman, excellent form coming in. A third at the Heritage, winner of Valero. Gained strokes in every major strokes gain category at Heritage. Only the 4th time that has happened for him in the last 3 years. He can hang with the big boys, and these top SIGI event finishes have all come on short courses, including his win at the Open. Top 10 in bet putting in the last 100 rounds when you add in fast screens. So a guy who could putt. His iron game's always been above average. Wedge game, I like him. Next, these are going to be the 2 bombs that I have. It's going to be Tom Hoge. 80-1 with 8 places. Elite wedge player with great form coming in. If the greens are soft and it turns into a birdie fest, I think he could still compete. So I do like him. 80-1 with 8 places. And I'm going back. A little pissed off last week that I jumped off Cole. Because like I said, I've been betting Cole basically like every week. Been on him on DFS because I felt like, he was about to come back. I did not put the placement on him last week. He finished 5th, would have at least gotten me some of my money back. So this is sort of FOMO. I'm coming back. The game looks like it's back to where it needs to be. So this is like another field play. I'm going to go with Eric Cole, 90-1 with 8 places. So this is my card. Xander, 25-1, 3 places. Burns, 40-1, 8 places. Keegan, 40-1, 8 places. Rose, 45-1, 8 places. Harman, 66-1, 8 places. And then 2 bombs, Hoge, 80-1, 8 places. Cole, 90-1, 8 places.
Beautiful. I love the Keegan Bradley play. Obviously, Kenny, I'm on there with you too. Great wedges, driving, amazing stuff. Bent grass, northeast. Boom. Those 4 key factors, all going to work wonderfully. Wyndham Clark is the other guy that I've also bet at 66-1. When I look at guys that have distance off the tee and good wedge play, he is one of the few. Like we mentioned, JT, Colin, and Wyndham and Keegan are those couple guys that really dialed in the wedges. And he's 66-1 at Bet Rivers. Love the 6 places each way there. He's also top 25 in bent grass putting. So we've seen this guy win at Pebble Beach. We've seen this guy contend at the Players. We've seen this guy contend at Harbour Town. He's really solid on these wedge-intensive venues, actually. So I love the 66-1 number on Wyndham Clark as well. And then I haven't pulled the trigger yet, Kenny, but I'm definitely contemplating Colin Morikawa and Justin Thomas. I just think the wedge play for those 2 guys, you're not a lot of these elite dudes, they elite because they're so good from 150 and out, where the majors are played, where all the tough golf courses tend to demand the best from you. There's not a lot of big boy golf courses that require wedge fest. They don't play wedge fest on the signature event schedule that much. It's not a skill set that these guys typically dial in. So I'm on the fence. I'm hoping to maybe get some drift back for JT and Colin. Maybe I can find a 20-1 on JT and maybe a 16 on Colin, as people tend to not bet them and come in on the longer shots like you have, and just see how that goes. But I will confirm if I go with, I'm likely going to go with one of them. Maybe I'll go with both. I'll tell you guys on my show tomorrow, 7 Eastern, Mayo Media Network. It just makes too much sense. And now, does Justin Thomas win back-to-back?
Well, it'd be funny for JT. The worry, of course, you got with JT, it's going to be his 3rd caddy in 3 events. But he won with a new caddy last time, so
exactly.
I
know.
So it'll probably happen again. I think that's the only reason that's one of the reasons why I went Xander over JT. But I would not be shocked, because I was looking at Morikawa, JT, and Xander. I knew I was going to bet one of them. Morikawa has great, Joe, Homa's old caddy and JT's old caddy on his bag now. So I could see that. I definitely, but I just have a feeling about Xander. I think, the guy's too good to have 25-1 next to his name.
Fair. I just agreed. I'll early spoiler. I'm fading the shit out of Xander in DFS. It's not the week for him to break out, yeah. But
He
maybe
is
the
one of my
price is
cash game
different there.
cornerstones. So definitely opposites this week, but that's a good thing. We'll see. I mean, it's a brand new course. People are going to be taking this from different angles on all the shows you listen to this week.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that there's going to be, because I mean, I haven't seen very many people have anybody that's in my betting card this week. So we'll see.
I love your accurate guys. The snipers, you inherently getting longer odds on them. So if you're looking to take advantage of that narrative and the rough is thick as fuck, then the snipers are the way to go. So I like it a lot for you. Shall we get into some DFS blood, sweat, and tears here, my friend?
Before we do that, we did have a winner last week.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We had a winner, and his name is at the Bees, THABEASE, and he chose Scotty Scheffler. Congratulations. Welcome to the Model Maniac Patreon/Discord, where you can get all the stuff that you just saw on the screen. If you guys haven't already figured this out, comment in the YouTube description in the comments below. Let us know who is going to win this week's Truist Championship. The first person to comment the correct answer gets into the Model Maniac Patreon for a month. We would love you to be in there. And the Bee's Knees is making his way into the Model Maniac Patreon this week. Go ahead and let us know in the comments below. And also, while you're doing that, go to Spotify, go to Apple. We are begging you to like, subscribe, and rate and review. Have a couple twisted teas before you do that so that you can get real creative and real inspiring so that the reviews are great. Hit the 5 stars. Don't hit the 4. 5 stars only, baby. Kenny looks amazing without the beard. We want you guys to know we support it. So before we do that, let's get to some DFS blood, sweat, and tears. Kenny, hit me with the 10K Ranger. We got Rory McIlroy, who I believe is slightly underpriced at $12,000.
Yeah, I think he is too. Here's the thing. I'm not the biggest fan of the 9K range. So in my 3 lineups, my first thing is going to be I'm going to go 2 cash game cornerstones. In this 10K
in the
range.
10s.
In the 10s. I am going Xander and Justin Thomas. 10,200, 10,000. I'm going Xander, JT to start my cash game lineup. I talked about how much I like these 4 guys. I think my strategy this week is going to be using JT and Xander in cash. I think I'll use Morikawa in either the 44 or the 100, and I think I'll use Rory in the 44 or the 100. I'm going to play all 4 of these guys. Now, if I had to rank them, I'm going to go Rory, Xander, JT, Morikawa. That would be the rank that I have. Now, the reason I didn't have Rory in cash is because he's so much more expensive. I can get 2 of these guys, and I actually have 2 6K guys in my lineup this week. Again, no cut event. You don't have to worry about the cuts. These guys are going to be playing all 4 rounds. So I'm going for a lot of upside up top. And some birdie makers down below. Is what I'm going with, and that's how I'm going to go about this 10K range. What about you?
Yeah, I think the thing I'm so like Rory from a metric standpoint, it makes 0 sense for him to be 12K. He should be in the $13,000 range that we've seen Scotty in my opinion,
Yeah,
or at least
12.5. Yeah,
like that. You should be closer to 13 than he is to 12, given who we have in the field to choose from the 6K. So I like his value in a big way. He's double. When I have a power ranking where you have first, second, third, but also have power ratings that you derive those rankings from. So it's like an actual number. And Rory's upside number is 6.3. The second place guy is Justin Thomas at 3.7. So like it's a full 3 points clear of second place. And then if you're looking for 3 points from JT all the way down, you're getting like guys by the name of Siwoo Kim, Brian Harmon. That's the difference in my model rankings for Rory versus the rest of the field. So he's just night and day. He's also been on the Jimmy Fallon show. He's also been talking all sorts of shit on TV shows instead of dialing in the wedges. he's been having fun. Like I don't know if that's going to lead to
He played
regression
well
in
at
his game.
Zurich, I thought. He
Right, but
he carried Lowry.
yeah. Okay. So, then maybe we cool. I think we don't want to overthink this a little bit. Let's lead into the numbers here. It's an obvious smash play if that's the case. It could blow up in our face. Who the hell knows? But I love what this course can present for him. He's going to carry. There's not a single bunker on this golf course that's in the way for Rory. So it's just like, go for it, baby. And he's so good out the rough, even, like with the wedges. So love him. I will go to JT next as my second option. I love his price at 10 flat. I think the wedge play from him is fantastic. The form's great. Putting so well. It's kind of crazy though, Kenny. Like I saw someone mention that he's got the new shoes on. He's wearing his new shoes, which is supposed to give you extra distance, supposed to help you with ever. He's having his worst driving performance of his career. He's having his best putting performance of his career in 2025. Like, so if you're struggling with the putter, go buy some new shoes because I guess you're looking at them when you're making putts. So get some dad-looking New Balance bitch-ass shoes that he's wearing with long-ass laces, and then off you go. You're going to have career best putting numbers over there. I'm out on Xander. You will not find him on any capacity. I'll be fading him in the markets. Hopefully, for Kenny's sake, it works out well. I just don't see this being the course for him to break out. He's elite from 150 and out. We're going to see too many wedges this week. If you haven't heard me say that yet, the show. In the 9K range, Kendo, VT, on X. Where are we going over here?
Hovland. He's probably the only guy I'm looking at in the 9K range. After that win, it seems like his game has come back into form. Like you said, he's getting those really good shots when it comes to 100 to 150. He's the one guy that I'm going to play in the 9K range. I think Henley might pick up steam. I think Cantlay might pick up steam. I can't get on the Cantlay because he just doesn't win. Henley, maybe, but he could just be too popular for me when it comes down to it. I like Hovland a lot. He's really the only guy that I'm looking at in 9K range.
Can I interest you in a Tommy Fleetwood who, over the last 36 rounds on Bentgrass? Now, if you think about what Tommy's been really struggling with the last little while, Kenny, is the putter. He's 23rd in this field on bent greens over the last 36. So I think he's definitely in the mix, and he's sensational inside 200 yards. He's not the greatest long iron player, but he's very, very solid when it comes to 150 to 200 and from 100 to 150. I think we can find Tommy Fleetwood doing his thing. Very, very accurate off the tee. And, he's $9,300. I like him from a safety perspective. Might be leaning into his top 20 market there, which he's been doing 2 out of every 3 starts. So
I think that would be a great pivot from Henley. Because Henley's already picking up a little bit of steam. His wedge game is solid, his iron game is solid. It looks like this is the type of course that they could do. I think he's going to gain a little bit of ownership. I think that's a good pivot.
Who's more owned, Kenny? Patrick Cantlay or Russell Henley?
I think those two are going to be the highest 2 owned in the 9K range, I think.
Okay.
When it comes down to it.
You're going to fade both? Because I think I'll be leaning into Henley as well. Cantlay, it's just been lifeless, man. It's just not been great at all. So I'll be going to Henley instead. If I'm picking chalk, I like him as my chalk option. I'll leave Cantlay alone.
I like Hovland. I think Hovland might be the only one I play in this range. But
you are also only playing 3 lineups. So I love how specific you are being with your player pool. Figured I'll just try and source out a little couple tidbits from you there before we get into the 8K range, which has Shane Lowry, Sanjay M, Maverick McNeely grading out sensationally well for me from a GPP perspective at $8,300. So I'll be looking at him for sure. He's got the distance to carry these bunkers. Think about, you can almost piece together some courses, Kenny. Comp courses for you at this venue. Which would you kind of, off the top of your head, think of as comps?
I mean, it's so hard because there's not that many courses that are this short on tour anymore. I mean, like, it's not like the Heritage because you can actually use driver here. I don't know. I'm not the best at that. I would go with somebody else who knows a little bit more because to me, when I see it, it doesn't pop for anything. Aronimic, maybe, I don't know. Like another Tillinghast course would be the closest, and I think that one's a little bit shorter. I don't remember. I'm not the best when I remember courses, but there's not one that really sticks out in my head as one that would be like something like this.
I've thought about TPC Scottsdale as a venue because it's driver intensive and also a lot of wedges. Like it's longish because it's bone dry, but you can also, as a result, you're getting a lot more wedge play there than a typical long golf course. So Maverick McNeely's played quite nicely at the WM quite the last two times there.
I will say about Nav, he was actually, I bet him when I was, usually I make my first couple of bets when I wake up in the morning on Mondays while I'm taking a shit. Like my first shit of the day, I'm looking through and I do some like just basically field plays about who I'm betting. And Mav was one of the ones that I bet. Now I cashed him out to bet somebody else. But because I have 6 guys in my card already, 7 guys in my card, so I didn't want to go too crazy with that. And 5 of them are 66 to 1 or below, so I couldn't fit him in there. But he was definitely on the card first. So
another comp course I thought of is Kapalua for the Century. Driver heavy, lots of wedges. It's the short game, be damned. From a ball striking perspective, that's another venue I thought you could use as a comp course. Who the heck knows if it's even true or not. So I like Keegan Bradley as well, $8,100. And then give me some Sung JM. I think we're starting to see some form from the man. Grades out very nicely for this golf course. A 5th at the Masters, 11th at the RBC Heritage, kind of sucked it up at CJ Byron. But, I think we can expect him to keep his ball in play a little better than most at this golf course. Seb Straka, also someone that's plays great in if it's easy to medium conditions this week. I like Sep. Keep the chipping out of his situation. We're looking good there. Great iron player, kind of accurate with the driver there, and we've seen him win many, many times. Corey Connors as well, Kenny. Love Corey Connors this week. Lots of 8K options for sure in this field. I'm a big fan of this 8K range.
Yeah, Sep's my favorite play here. He's in my cash lineup. He's my 3rd cash game cornerstone. Sep Straka, when it comes down to it, again, like 6th in proximity from 100 to 125 in the last 24, 4th from 125 to 150 in the last 24. Like you said, the win equity is there. The guy can win. He's he's not that long, but he hits a lot of greens. His iron game is very, very strong. Top 15 in birdie or better percentage. He actually rates first in iron play in the last 24 rounds in this field. So I like Giuseppe Straka as my 3rd cash game cornerstone. Other guys, I do like Mav. We talked about him. I do like your Corey Connors call as well. Those are the 3 guys I'll probably be keying on when it comes down to the 8K range. In the 7K range, I'll go with my hustler play of the week, Mike. Hit the music. We are doing our hustler play at $7,900. I'm going Sam Burns. He was one of my plays. Now, looking at his numbers, this is why he's my hustle play of the week. There's a lot of hustle play of the week. You're trying to find a guy whose stats don't really match up or who you think ownership is going to be low that can win you a GPP. 71st in strokes gained approach out of 72 golfers this week in the last 24 rounds. 69th in strokes gained tee to green out of 72 golfers in the last 24 rounds. Not great, but he's coming in with a couple of top 15s to this event. And again, you look at his putting, number 1 in putting in this field in the last 24 rounds. But the most important stat for him, 19th in proximity from 100 to 125, 29th in proximity from 125 to 150. This is happening during the same time where he's 71st in strokes gained approach. So obviously his strength is the wedge game. If he can keep, like I said in the betting segment, if he can keep that strength up and have a pop, putting week, a spiked putting week, which he has a lot of, I think he can surprise. I think he can shock. I think he can win this fucking event. So give me Sam Burns as my hustler play of the week. Other guys that I do like your Wyndham Clark call. I'll let you talk about him. He's at $7,900. Justin Rose is another guy that I bet talked about him on the betting segment about why. Brian Harmon, same way. When you get down a little bit lower, I'm looking at JJ Spawn with his excellent wedge play down in the $7,500 range. I think I might jump back board on Batin. this week. He hasn't been playing great, but it's $7,100 with a guy with a brand new caddy, a new outlook for him. He got rid of his old caddy. He's got the new caddy going in for him. His wedge game is well above average, very, very strong. I think another guy who I think can surprise this week. And if you're looking for a pivot off somebody like a JT Poston or somebody else who gets popular down here, I think I'm jumping backboard on the Curry train, and we're going Bhatia this week.
Hurry in a hurry, baby. And when it comes to Sam Burns, Kenny, one more little positive for you. 71st in poor shot avoidance from 200 plus. Now remember, 2 par 5s, multiple par 3s that are 200 and beyond. 7th in the field in good shot rate. So he's hitting them stiff on the par 3s. He's also hitting some really bad shots there. So if you get the right side of Sam Burns, that's also a solid metric for him. He's very capable of hitting it close and making birdies on holes that everyone's making pars and birdies. So just a little tidbit there for you as well. In the 7K range for me, give me some Aaron Rai. Mr. Consistency, grades out insanely well from a ball striking perspective. Yeah, he's going to be just middle of the fairway, on the green, 2-putt, body block. He's $7,700. Give me him. He can get it done. JJ Spawn, similar situation, $7,500. 20th in my model for upside. He's 31st in DK ranking. So you can absolutely find some value from the JJ Spawn train. Tony Finau's grading out quite well, but I don't really fancy him that much. If you're in the mood, play some Finau. But Taylor Pendrith down at $7,100. Think about how solid of a wedge player he is, and he's got the distance to cover all the bunkers. He's very, very long off the tee. So Taylor Pendrith doing some of the Lord's work in that department. So not necessarily that thrilled about the 7K range, but there's a couple names that I don't mind playing. Kenny, in the 6s, where the hell are you going?
My final cash game cornerstone is going to be Hollywood Hoagie at $6,700. Again, really, really good wedge plays coming in, I think, with three top 20s in his last 4 events or something like that. The form is there. Elite wedge play. Let's go ahead and have Hoagie as my final cash game cornerstone. So my cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Xander Schauffele at 10,200, JT at 10,000, Straka at I think 8,600 if I'm not mistaken, and Hoagie at 6,700. I'm also adding another guy in the 6K in my cash lineup, and I'm going down deep. I'm going your brethren, EVR. Now I know he's healthy. After what I saw last week, I know he's healthy. The thing about it is, again, when it comes to his iron game, his biggest strength is his wedges. 16th in the last 24 rounds from 100 to 125. 24th from 125 to 150. Coming off, his best performance in a while last week. Should be riding that momentum coming into this event. I do like a mix, a ton of birdies. 5th in the field in birdie or better percentage in the last 24 rounds. So I'm going to have him in my cash game lineup along with Keegan Bradley. So basically I have 4 guys, 8,000 and above. So playing aggressive in cash. And then I have 2 6K guys. Not the normal lineup build for cash, but again, it is a signature event, no cut. Everybody gets 4 rounds. So the 4 guys I have, JT, Xander, Straka, Keegan, I think all can win. I think Hoagie could top 5. I think Hoagie can top 10. I think Van Rooyen can top 10. So that's where I'm going with my lineup. For cash. Other guys, like I said, I'm back on Cole. Lucas Glover seems to make a lot of sense with pretty good wedge play throughout his career. It's sort of like treading here. Who do you like?
I like Hollywood Hoagie, like you mentioned it, Kenny. I believe it's 4 consecutive top 20s in his last couple starts, minus any team events.
I do have somebody else. Yes, I do.
Who's it at?
Nick Taylor at 6,500. Again, his wedge game is pretty good.
Very good.
He's been putting well on bent grass. It's another guy that I like down here in the 6K range.
Yeah, and really, really solid out of the rough as well when it comes to missing fairways. He's really handy there. Max Griesemann, $6,600. If you're taking a look at the bent grass type of things, remember the power situation for him, not the greatest. Over the last 36 round, he's third in the field in strokes gained putting on bent grass greens. Give me all of that this week. Got him ranked 25 spots ahead of his 50th DK price ranking. Adam Scott sitting at $6,500. Tons of distance off the tee. Very good with the wedge out of the rough. Give me Adam Scott. And then Jacob Bridgman. Played very nicely at the Valero. Kind of a similar type situation here. Makes the putts that you need. $6,400 grades out very nicely for me too. And I believe that's going to be it. If I'm looking for a tiny sprinkle, Alex Noren is sensational with the wedges. He's returning from an injury. He's very, very good on hard and difficult courses if this course plays that way. I don't know. He's going to be super low owned. Is he in good form at $6,200? I don't know. He's likely probably one of the lowest owned options at the bottom here. So that's what you're going to be getting from him, but it's a sprinkle. It's a leverage play. His baseline checks out. Whether or not he's going to be dusting off rust, that's yet to be determined. Kenny, Slider Cup, one and dones. I'm a bum. I don't know what I'm doing in that market, so hit me with
Funny
your
enough,
guys.
I forgot to put it in the Mayo Cup last week, and I went from 350 to 400. So it didn't
That's
really
not terrible.
hurt me. You know what I'm saying? It did not
When
really
Scotty's
hurt
winning,
me.
you're Gucci.
Yeah, it didn't hurt me that much. So I thought I had put it in, I didn't. So I think I'm gonna go Keegan. The guys I'm looking at are like Keegan, Sam Burns, EVR for the international. We'll see. I haven't really decided yet. The international one is the one that's going to be tough this week because there's not that many that I have clipped. Like I'm going, all United States. Basically everyone I've clipped until we get down to until we get down to I've used scoring before. So until we get down to the 6K range. So I think I might just hopefully ride the Mo with EVR for the Slider Cup when it comes to my international one and done.
Let's go, baby. We got that flag rocking and rolling over here. I have been playing the contrarian card pretty hard to start the season. So it's time now to make some comeback here, to pick a couple squares. So it's going to be either Justin Thomas or Colin Morikawa at the top of the board for me. I think I'm going to go with one of those two guys. I don't know who. I'm going to kind of take a peek at some ownership. I'd imagine their ownership, the odds will depict where, also watch Mayo and Tambo when they do their show, because if they drop one of those names, it's instant like 5% extra of ownership. It's just unfortunate. So when you are in the Mayo Cup, watching that show provides you with an edge. So not only will we support our fellow network brethren, you're also getting an edge for your own contest to try and win a couple six figures. So that's going to be it for me.
I think, are you going to be on his show next week for the PGA at all?
I have not got the invite yet, Kenny, but
Okay.
I wouldn't be
My
surprised
bad.
if I'm not.
Didn't mean to bring that up. My bad. I will be on Pat's show. We're recording Wednesday night. We're going to go over player by player. Me and Joe Adoni from Roto Baller, your old buddy. I love Joe. We'll be going, him, and Pat will be going over every single golfer at the PGA Championship. And what we think. That show will be recorded Wednesday. It'll probably come out sometime this weekend, I would expect.
Beautiful. Maybe I get called up for the best bets with Cam Stewart. The last time we had a fun time on the
Those are
Masters
always
there,
fun, yeah.
Which are later on in the week. So I'm not losing all confidence in Mayo's ability to bring these boys up from the bullpen. But as always, folks, you can catch me at the Model Maniac on X. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review the shit out of us on Spotify and Apple. Please, we want to just run up that leaderboard like it's nothing we've ever seen before. Use code Truist25 for 25% off your first month at the Model Maniac Patreon. All the stuff I've showed you on the screen, and you'll see on my show on Mayo Media Network live at 7 Eastern on Tuesdays. Check out Back Nine Bets. I'll be sharing my model, sharing my screen all show long, having a great time over there. We'll see you guys there. Kenny, get us the hell out of here.
Make sure, I think there's still tickets available for the Cuss Corner Live in Toronto. I will be there. Cam will be there. Pizzola will be there. Feinberg, Cust. All of us will be there. If you're in the Toronto area or you want to travel up to Toronto and see some sights, make sure you go get those tickets. I'm hoping the Caps my squad. Hopefully, there's an outside chance that the Caps and the Leafs both make the Eastern Conference Finals. If they do, I think Game 6 might be at the Rogers Center or whatever hockey arena they are while we are there. So it should be a good time. If you're going, hit me up. We can go out. You guys could buy me a drink. I'm planning on not buying any drinks while I'm there for the whole week. If there's going to be fans,
Just strippers.
I'm hoping. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about the strip club. I say that now. I get like 6 or 7 drinks with me. We go into the fucking strip club. It's just the way we roll. But I just spent a little bit more. It was my buddy's birthday, and when I went out this weekend, I didn't see, and his dad came. I grew up with his dad. Gave his dad fucking hell growing up, and then his sister came. So it was a family affair. I told him I'd take care of it. It was like $1,400. So for the dinner. So I spent a little bit more than I thought I would spend at this dinner. We'll see. Yeah, if I hit
We need Xander to win this thing.
Yeah, if I hit another hour right, then we're good. We're going to the strip club. But we'll see how it goes. You can find me on X at KendoVT. Make sure you go there and check out my ProphetX plays. Use promo code FG Degenerates. Get yourself 1.5% back on a buy-in on ProphetX. I'll have those plays out Wednesday. Again, you really need to check that out. I'll have my final betting card. I don't think I'm going to change anything, but it's possible. It could happen. I'll have my final betting card out on Wednesday on X. It should be a fun week. New course, get to see some new shit. And then we got this is a great stretch coming up with, the Truist, PGA, Colonial, Memorial, US Open, Canadian Open, all in the next 6 weeks. Really, really fun stretch. Make sure you join us this coming up stretch. We'll be bringing in the heat each and every week. Let's win some motherfucking money. Degen Nation. So you can see a little bit of stubble. It's growing. I'm Asian. It takes me a little bit of time. It'll get there.